Hello there. My name is Giselle Carson. I am a business immigration attorney, and I am thrilled to be here with you talking about the adjustment of a status. I have been through this process myself. I know it's almost the finish line that many of us look forward to when we're aiming for a green card. As you probably know, it's a long journey full of a lot of uncertainties. And what I'm aiming to do here is to give you a general overview of the adjustment of a status process, to give you a little bit of peace of mind as you continue this journey. And later on, with our team, they will continue to dive a little deeper into each one of these subjects. So again, for now, it is an overview of your adjustment of a status process, and I am thrilled to be going through this with you. So the first thing that we're going to be looking at is, well, kind of the overview. This is what we're going to be talking about, the three main steps to legal permanent residency. Some of you probably have gone through two of those already. Then the adjustment of a status process and the timeline, key elements of that process, and the end goal. So here is a flow chart of the traditional employment-based green card flow chart. The step one is the perm labor certification. Some of you have skipped this section or this step, and that is in very unique situations. If you are a foreign national that was a manager and executive abroad and is obtaining your green card as a manager or executive in the United States, or you're considered extraordinary ability, or you have qualified for a national interest waiver, there are certain categories of employment-based visas that the step one, the perm labor certification, is not required. But for the majority of the foreign nationals that are aiming to obtain a green card via employment-based, the perm labor certification is required. So many of you would probably have gone through this process. Step two is the immigrant visa petition, or sometimes called I-140, which is the form that is required to be filed by the employer on your behalf to request a green card visa number. And again, some of you may have already gone through the I-140 process and have an I-140 approved, and maybe the priority date wasn't current and you couldn't go to the next step, or you're filing concurrently the I-140 and your adjustment of status, or your I-140 is still pending. And now we have the opportunity to file for the step three, which is what I'm going to be talking about, adjustment of status to a green card. Now note that the step three could be done in two ways: an adjustment of status in the United States, or consular processing your green card. In this particular webinar, I am only going to be talking about the adjustment of a status process. Now, because I know that we learn best when we're engaged, I have a few little polls here for you to keep you on your toes and engaged. So here's the first one. In determining whether someone can apply for adjustment of status, which of the following requirements is not always necessary? Proof of maintenance of a status, proof of admission, priority date current, or an I-140 approved. And I'm going to give you just a few minutes so that you can think about that. Okay, and if you were paying attention to what I said before, you can probably figure out the answer. And the answer as to what is not always necessary is that you have an I-140 approved. All of the other ones, the proof of maintenance of a status, proof of admission, priority date being current, need to be met in order to file for your adjustment of status. Okay, next. So here are the initial requirements and actually kind of the process also that we follow. When we're doing an adjustment of status, we first have a strategic call with you and also your employer, if employer involvement is important even at this stage. And during that strategic call, we go over the timelines, answer additional questions. We determine that your priority date is current. The immigrant visa petition has been approved or filed or will be filed with the adjustment of status, that you have that certified perm application, which again, in most cases is necessary. And if so, what are the requirements of the perm application or the job that the perm application supports? Again, that the current job is supported by the I-140 and the perm or labor certification, and that I-140 and perm labor certification have certain requirements. For example, it could be that you have a bachelor's degree in a certain in a certain field, that you have a certain experience, or you have a specific training, you have certificates. All of that needs to be checked and make sure that that you have it, and also evidence of admission to the United States. So those are basics that we need to check with you as we go through this process. Now, one item, so you remember that I talked about those key elements of the green card process, and one of those key elements is this visa Bolton, which can be complex. So I am just going to give you a general overview of how the visa Bolton works. And this is a snapshot of what probably you would be looking at. The visa Bolton is typically a 5, 6, 7-page long document. But for your purposes, those listening to this recording, this is one of the charts that you need to be concerned with. And it's the employment-based chart that on the left-hand side has the categories, first, second, or third employment-based categories. And at the top, it has certain countries and the old chargeability. If your country is not listed on that top row, then that means that you are considered old chargeability. For example, Canada is not there, so that's where you would be. Australia is not there, that's where you would be in most or all the European countries. And the C means that your priority date is current. So you can move forward and apply for an adjustment of a status. The other categories, like for example, China first has a date in there. That means that your priority date, if your priority date is before the date that is listed, in this case, September 1st, 2020, then you can file, your priority date is current, and you can file for adjustment of status. Now, there are two charts in the visa Bolton. One is the dates for filing, and the other one is the final action dates, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. So this is dates for filing, this is final action dates. The chart itself looks similar. The dates inside those categories or those boxes is different. So depending on whether USCIS is using the final action date or the prior chart, that will determine whether you can file for an adjustment of a status or not. And again, your priority date has to be before the date that is listed there or be current. Again, that's a very general overview of a very complex process. We do have additional resources on the visa Bolton, and we'll cover the resources that we have later on in the presentation. Next thing that we look at, and we get questions about all the time, is, you know, how long does it take? What is the timing of the process? So this is what it would look like. It will take about a month or two to prepare the adjustment of status filing, in particular also if we're doing it in concurrent with an I-140. It can be done quicker than that. These are general estimates. And truly, whether we can get it done in 3 weeks versus 2 months, it depends primarily on you. And I'm going to say that again, primarily on you. The sooner you can get the appropriate documents to us in good shape, the sooner we can file this for you. Again, you're at the end of the line. I know you want to get it done, and we want to help you get there. And many times we really have 30 days to put this together, depending on whether the priority days are going to continue to shift. So we look forward to working with you in efficiently and expeditiously through this preparation and filing. Once the package is filed, it's pretty much out of your hands and our hands. Where we had control of the timing is gone, and now it's in the hands of the government. And there is no premium processing for the adjustment of status process, so it can take a while. And here I'm putting 6+ months, and it could be much more than that. Again, these are general times. So once it's filed, the next thing that we get is within 2 to 4 weeks, we get a receipt notice from USCIS. Basically, it's confirmation that they have received and accepted your adjustment of status filing. Yay, victory. Then the next thing after that, within typically about a month after, is a biometrics appointment. This is a fancy word for fingerprinting and photograph. You will go to a local USCIS office, get your fingerprint is taken, and your photograph is, from what our clients tell us, is one of the least painful parts of this process. We also have a little video about that you can watch. And then after the biometrics are done, that information gets sent to the various agencies that USCIS uses for background checks, and your case continues. In 4 to 5 months after the filing, you should get an employment authorization document and an advance parole. This is another victory in this journey, because the employment authorization document and advance parole provides an additional, very trusted source of identification, but it needs to be used with caution. So, because it can take away your non-immigrant underlying status once you begin using this document. So again, we will go over this with you in more detail because it's very case specific. The next thing after that is 5+ months. It will be an interview at a local USCIS office. We will prepare you for that interview. I don't typically go to the interview with you for various reasons. And again, it's a case specific decision. And then after that, yay, what we have all been waiting for is this green card. And actually, just to kind of say, the green card typically comes in the mail, and we select that is sent to us. And typically we do the same thing with the employment authorization document and the advance parole, because we have had issues in the mail before, but not us, but our clients have not received the card for various reasons. So it typically comes to us, and then we let you know that we received it. Okay, another poll time to make sure that you're awake and engaged. Is there a way to accelerate the adjustment of a status? Your options are yes, no, and or somewhat. Think about that. And then I'm going to give you the answer. And the answer, again, if you've been paying a little bit of attention, the answer is somewhat. And I say somewhat because remember that timeline that I showed you before. During the preparation, and I'm going to go back to this slide, during this 1 or 2 month preparation and filing, that is when you have the most control as to how fast your case is filed, okay? So that is your somewhat. You can accelerate the process. You have at the beginning when it's in your hands to provide the documents and complete questionnaires and whatnot. So there you go. That's your answer, and I hope you can help us accelerate your process. Okay, the other question that we typically get, okay, I'm ready, my priority day is current. What can I do to get to, or will be current? What can I do to get ready? And this, again, is a very general list so that you could start checking and gathering these documents. First one, civil documents, so birth and marriage certificates. As to your birth certificate, I have to say that we require, not us, but USCIS requires the loan form. That means that your mom and your dad's names have to be on that birth certificate. Every so often, the birth certificate has a different name than what is shown on your passport. If that is the case, then there is alternative documents or supplemental documents that can be provided to explain that discrepancy. And those could be school records, medical records, affidavits, again, very case specific. So if that is the situation in your case, we'll work with you through that. Marriage certificate, particularly if you're filing, if your dependents are filing, that your spouse is filing with you. In terms of immigration documents, a current passport, and this is something, again, that's once we start getting documents in, we go, oh my gosh, your passport is about to expire. So make sure after you review, you listen to this presentation, that you check your passport. Your visa doesn't need to be current, but we do need a copy of the visa stamp that you have in your passport. Current I-94 record, all notices of action. These are your Form I-94 from prior H-1B approvals, prior O's and L's and E's, whatever immigration status you have been on. Form I-20s or DS 2019 for those that have been students. US passport style photos, we will send you information of those. Medical exam, do not rush and go get a medical exam. Again, this is very case specific. Wait for us to let you know what is required and how we can help. We also have two resources actually for you on the medical exam, but just know that a medical exam needs to happen. It's not like your typical medical exam going to your family physician. But just know that that needs to happen. And then there is a new requirement, the financial self-sufficiency or Form I-944, that requires additional detailed information about you and or your dependents. And again, we will walk through that with you, but just in general, know that we're going to need 3 years of IRS tax transcripts, evidence of health insurance, bank statements, US credit reports, and more. But again, we have resources for you on that. Next, here I'm going to answer some of the, again, frequently asked questions that we get on this process. As a employment-based green card applicant, one of the forms that needs to be completed and filed is the Supplement J to Form I-485. Basically, this is the document that you and your employer sign, and it's basically a verification that the job that is being offered to you or was offered to you in the I-140 continues to exist. Again, some of you will be filing for adjustment of status many, many years after, or maybe months after the I-140. So this just kind of brings it all together. How do I review and sign the immigration forms? Again, this is case specific, and I'm going to give you, and also firm specific, but what we're doing in our firm right now is we will prepare, we'll send you a questionnaire so that you can give us your basic information, your current address, current phone numbers, and a lot of other things that we just don't necessarily know about you. When we get those questionnaires back, we review that information and we start filling in all the immigration forms that are required for you to file for an adjustment of status. If you ever bought a house, it's almost like that. It's lots of signatures, lots of forms. Once we complete the first draft of the immigration questionnaires, we will email them to you. Then you can review them. And then you can let us know if there's things that need to be changed. I ask you pay particular attention to date of birth and names, just to make sure that there is no errors. Again, this is your life, your case, and you can quite often ID any minor errors that we may not see. Once the forms are finalized, everybody has approved and they're ready to go, we will mail those forms to you. Or you can, if you're local and you want to come to our office, you're welcome to come and you can review and sign the documents here. But if not, we will mail the documents to you with information exactly as to where you need to sign the forms, and then you can return them to us, and then we can finalize the file and file for you. Can the applicant's spouse and children apply for adjustment of status? The answer is typically yes. They also have to be maintaining its status. They also have to be admitted to the United States, and all that evidence needs to be provided. The children that can apply for adjustment of status with you are those that are under 21 years old and unmarried. Can I travel after my adjustment of status is filed? Yes, but, and it's a big but. No, and we're going to tell you this again and again, that once we file for adjustment of status, you will be prohibited really from traveling abroad for at least 4 to 5 months. So you have to make plans for this. Just think about what you're asking the government is to adjust your status from whatever it is you are, say an H-1B, adjust your status from an H-1B to a green card holder. In the eyes of USCIS, they can only adjust your status if you are in the United States and you have been in the United States since you filed for adjustment of status. If you leave, it's no longer an adjustment of status. So once it's filed, you're here until we get potentially an advanced parole travel document. And even then, we need to reevaluate what your case is like and what the situation with travel is. So this requires a lot of thinking and planning. How long does it take to obtain the green card? Again, this one is it's a tricky one, because on a normal world, that timeline that I show you way back, probably 10 slides back, you would get a green card after the adjustment of status was filed, sometimes 6, 7, 8 months after the filing. But priority dates move forwards and back. And if your priority date retrogresses while your adjustment of status is pending, then the adjustment of status will be halted. So it will be stopped by USCIS until your priority date becomes current again. So it could, you know, how long it would take for you to get your green card really will depend on what the priority dates do and what is happening at USCIS. That's why, again, I said to you, the most control that you have is when you're preparing the filing with us. So we have put many resources together for you, and this list continues to grow as we work with you and you ask us for resources. We have created YouTube videos as to what to bring to your immigration medical exam, what to expect at your immigration medical exam, and various frequently asked questions. So you can look through this list, you know, medical exam for adjustment of status, the public charge rule, credit report, how to obtain, visa Bolton, and I gave you a little bit of an overview. This document also provides more information. And then after your I-485 has been filed, you know, what else to expect. So all of this is out there for you and more. Our team has been doing this for a number of years. I've been practicing. It's hard to believe that I've been practicing immigration now for almost 20 years. And I am thrilled with what we can do for you, what we have done for our prior clients. And again, like I said to you, I'm an immigrant myself. I'm passionate about what we do here, what we do for you, and look forward to helping you get to your finish line, at least this finish line, the end goal, getting you a green card. Some foreign nationals haven't even seen it, and it changes, but this is kind of what it's looking like. It's gorgeous. It's a really pretty car when we get it. So I look forward to seeing yours. And after the green card, the next question that we get is like, when can I apply for naturalization? Typically, on an employment-based track is 5 years after you receive your green card. We also look forward to helping you get to that finish line. Our team is passionate about what we do, energetic about what we do, and it requires a lot of energy to go through this process with you and keeping track of what's going on in immigration. But it is an amazing process. You're almost there. We're here for your success, and we look forward to working with you to get you to your finish line, your green card. Thank you so much.